for one last time. Good morning, Healdsburg Sunrise.
Good morning.
Morning.
Great to see everyone here this morning.
Morning.
I think that, Larry, you had our inspiration today?
I do. From a gentleman that lived a few years ago. Some of us may have known him or his father. He was born in 384 BC and passed away 68 years later. He was a very famous Greek philosopher, scientist, and considered one of the greatest thinkers in politics, psychology, and ethics. I have two quotes. I'll try to be brief, but one of them is, "Happiness does not consist in pastimes and amusements, but in virtuous activities." I think as Rotarians, we can relate to that. And we're all concerned with happiness, of course. The other one is, I find very interesting. I've not seen this before. Quote, "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it."
Very good.
Excellent. I think that's a timely thought.
Morning, Tom.
So Larry, who's the philosopher?
Aristotle,
Thank you.
one of a few men known by one name.
Like Prince.
Just like Prince.
Or Andy.
Yeah, I was
Or
gonna
Elvis,
say Andy.
or Jesus. There's a few.
All right, so before we jump into our program, I want to let everyone know that after our speaker, we're going to be talking about the 4th of July program that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing stuff. It's obviously not going to be what we usually do, but I'm pretty excited. I think we've got some good plans put together. Welcome. We've got some guests, which is great. Tom, thanks for continuing to join us. Pam, great to see your face. I think that's all the guests we've got, except for our speaker. So I'll go ahead and introduce Nick Papadopoulos. Nick relentlessly digs for community-based solutions through creativity, teamwork, and storytelling. For over 2 decades, he's served as a consultant and facilitator to organizations on topics ranging from local food systems and economic development to cannabis and innovation. His work and writing has been featured in Time, NPR, Press Democrat, and Made Local. Nick is recipient of Leader of the North Bay Awards, the Red Cross's Real Hero Award, an Only Organic Pioneer, and U.S. Delegate for Slow Food International. And today, Nick's going to talk about Crop Mobster, a marketplace and exchange platform for trading food and local resources. So, Nick, let me make you co-host.
All right.
So that you can
Hi,
share
everyone.
your
Good
screen.
morning.
Good morning.
All right. Thanks, Lance. Congratulations on a year well served.
Thank you.
And it's a real honor to be here this morning with you, albeit virtually. When this effort first got going on my family farm, this picture right behind me out in Bloomfield, in the first year, I was able to get a lift off from Rotary Club. And then you all sent me over to Windsor, and from there we got to speak at Rotary in Elk Grove and Merced and others. So it's been a really beautiful journey, and members like yourselves, Rotary, and I gotta also thank Edward McCutcheon here on the line today for being a great member of our community, Crop Mobster, and always nudging and supporting and helping create opportunities like this one today. So super, super appreciate it. I'm gonna pick up the pace here. And Lance, is it about 20 minutes, you said? Maybe, does that include time for questions or not?
No, you've got a good solid 30 minutes with questions.
Okay, great. Always like to check. You be my timekeeper, okay? Just give me the digital hook if I keep talking too much. I'm going to share my slide now. Let's see here. And it almost looks like a gesture hat up here, but the title of this presentation for all of you is Romaine calm and carrot on. Who can tell me where that statement or quote comes from and is inspired by?
That would be the English keep calm and carry on signs.
There we go. Thanks, Lance. And have fun doing good. As you'll know, as we go through this, we care a lot about what we're doing. We're really focused on making a difference and making an impact. But through thick and thin, dark times and bright times, we always like to try to have a little fun. And so we have the world's largest collection of food, fun, merchandise. And I'm an incessant, I think that's the word, wordsmith. So I love to have fun in that way. Let me pick up the pace here. This is our farm out in Bloomfield. Does no longer exist, but we were leasing land from Willie Bird Turkey. Rest in peace, Willie Bird. But at the time, we had an organic farm out of one of his properties, and I saw this food going to waste. And I learned that almost 40% of the food in the United States was wasted. And I was seeing it on our farm where we'd have one time we had 20,000 pounds of potatoes. Couldn't even find a food bank to take it, right? Boxes of premium organic produce. So anyhow, I had done work in a lot of other arenas, as Lance mentioned, and thanks for the great intro, by the way, Lance. But it just fired me up and upset me to see all this food in Sonoma County and the Bay Area and the United States of America going to waste. So we started fiddling around with social media and online tools to create an instant alert system to find a home for extra food. And these are some of the pictures in the first year of local Sonoma County families, residents, friends getting together to help me figure out how the heck to do this idea. This is one of the first experiences where a mother, Jennifer, drove up in her minivan, took extra. They paid us a little. As a farm, we recovered some of our costs. Next weekend, it was a donation. We just wanted to make sure this precious nutrition and food found a home. And that's our founding story. And for 7 years, we've been sticking with it. But guess what happened? Very quickly, this became kind of like Craigslist for community service, food, and resource sharing. So a website where you can post, hey, I've got a lawnmower, got extra carrots, tractor, extra food. Will, I think that was Will who mentioned the bread project. I don't know the details, but I'm imagining Will's cooking some great loaves. He's not loafing around. And he puts a call out for matching funds to fund even more impact. This is a place where someone like Will could make to fund this project or that project. Land, you get the picture. Lots of stuff happening nowadays, not only in Sonoma County, but around the nation on this project. People post jobs, sales, anything that can stimulate our local economy, which is getting crushed right now. We've been through a lot in Sonoma County, our entire nation has. So we're really focused a lot on how can we help people post that they're looking for a job and tell their story. How can we get the word out when employers, even nonprofits, are posting, hey, I've got a job. And then how can we help local small businesses, even backyard gardeners? You're going to see more of that in the coming months and years. Sell, make a little bit of extra money or side change. Edward on the call and his wife have been longtime crop mobsters. They have their side. They do a lot of posts like this, as well as many other types of generous offers of generosity to the community. But jobs, economic development, that is a crucial part of this picture that's emerged in my brain and my team's brain over the years. And we really aim for that sort of impact. Next slide, hunger relief and the nonprofit sector. When we started, I didn't know about groups like Farm to Pantry or Gleaners. Food banks were, of course, known in our community. And at first I thought, let's just find all the extra food and let's get it to the food banks and hunger groups. And so we're kind of like a switchboard operator in that. People are posting what they have, and then hopefully the dots get connected and you find a home quicker or more efficiently. People don't have to spend hours on the phone. You connect the dots with those who need it. But over time, what we noticed was school gardens. Here's one at Terrace Community Garden in Healdsburg. They needed a lawnmower. So someone made a post, and I was actually giving a talk at the shed at the time when we posted this alert. Like over 20 people had an extra lawnmower in their garage. So we flooded the market with the old lawnmowers, some of which have never been used. So we're trying to get the goods flowing, people, the resources flowing. Right now, there's so much that is stagnant and at any time. But we try to support large, small opportunities. In the first North Bay fire that we faced, Sonoma County, got a call. It wasn't even on the interwebs. Lady from the Stockton racetrack, hey, we've gathered a little bit of food. We want to donate it, but we don't know where to go. They made a post. It ended up being a convoy load of semi-trucks of food and supplies. Massive. Found a home, David Goodman at the food bank, connected, and then routed them to the appropriate place. And then large and small, here's Supervisor Gore, James Gore, my good friend, pomegranates. He posted early on a lot on Crop Mobster. He was able to make a permanent connection with Farm to Pantry Gleaning Organization. So lots of mulch for school gardens. You get the picture here. I will keep rolling through 50 pounds of old world spaghetti that someone needs to find a home for, 12,000 pounds of potatoes, and even watermelon rinds. Who would have thought, right, that we'd be talking about watermelon rinds today? A lot of companies have excess food, scraps, as I've mentioned, and they need to find a better home than the landfill. This is precious natural resources, took a lot of energy, water, money to make. Let's get it to pig farmers, composters. You remember the Heirloom Festival in Sonoma County? Every year they have the big stack of pumpkins and perfectly premium heirloom squash, all those magical historic seeds. They go back to the time of Aristotle, probably, some of the genetics, and they post and find a home for their squash. So anything goes. The vision for this is really a community resource exchange for posting, sharing, offering what you have, asking for help. This idea, there's a term you might hear more of in the future called circular economy, is that our economies are built so that one resource from one business or organization can be maybe one outbound waste product can be an input or a resource for another company, or we get the resources flowing in our community. Over time, we eliminate the toxics so we can do that. But look at this, old metal scraps, gates, canning jars. And who would have thought that moldy hay had a market for moldy hay? So people are posting old hay all the time, all sorts of uses. But we get the good stuff flowing here at Crop Mobster. And ideally, we do this by engaging individuals and community groups such as yours. It's a lot of fun. Every interaction is a little story that someone will find interesting. Every time someone posts, and Edward is the champion of this one, sometimes there's a really positive connection, not on the internet, but in person, face to face. People build new relationships. That's a part of resilient communities. Edward has a quote. Edward, take yourself on off mute, and I'd love to hear you say your famous Crop Mobster quote. All right, buddy. He's probably getting an extra cup of coffee right now. Lance, thumbs up. Can you hear me? All right. Thank you.
There, I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, the quote I came up, I remember as a kid when Honda was bringing cars and motorcycles over to the States. You meet the nicest people on a Honda. So I kind of played with it, and you meet the nicest people through Crop Mobster. I mean, I've met a lot of just decent people, and some of them actually become friends and we do stuff with. So it's a really good mechanism. It's sort of like the modernized Granger movement from the 1860s. What happened?
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, thanks. I just lost the screen.
All right. Love that guy. Your family has been so great to us, Edward. I really appreciate you a lot and look forward to checking in, have some new developments.
Okay, thank you.
Gratitude and impact. We're not seeing a lot of handwritten thank you letters these days. I haven't received one in a while. Maybe some of you have. I'd like to get back into the habit myself. But what we've done is created an online version. When something good happens to you or in the community, or you want to thank someone for making a difference in your life, we have a little feature on our website that allows people to just say thanks or describe the impact they've received. And so we encourage people to publish little stories of gratitude when something good happens. You're not going to find that type of thing on Craigslist, but it's a big part of Crop Mobster. Here's a pig. Here's me holding actually a ham. A few years back, this is Steve. He is a pig farmer. In some of the floods, his pigs were about ready to go under rapidly rising waters. He made a post, and quick enough, he was able to find a home for his pigs. And 4 months later, we're at our farm, and he rolls up and he gives me. And so I actually wrote this one, but it was just super neat we just really want to keep the good vibes flowing. A lot of action in Sonoma County, but we actually are spreading throughout the state now and in the United States. This is a ton of work. We're not backed by a big venture capital investment. This is a community-based, self-funded, grant-funded to date. You'll see some of the other ways we are supported. But Sonoma County is where it started. All sorts of groups have gotten involved to help. One project we're about ready to work on with the University of Cooperative Extension locally is Match.Graze. See a picture of the super goat here. I would have never thought I would have been a matchmaking service for farm animals and landowners. But pretty soon, we're going to release a campaign that allows for grazing ranchers with grazing animals to go eat the grass on landowners to create those defensible spaces and reduce fuel loads. So we get involved in all sorts of issues. This is Oliver's Market, 10,000 pounds of food scraps a month in Windsor at the time. They made a post, found the pig farmer, all that waste that was going to the dump that they were paying to get rid of, now going to the pig farmer, and the pig farmer now selling his pigs on Crop Mobster for sale. Youth leadership. This is really important. One of the things we figured out over the course of the time since we first met you all, this group, Sunrise, is that young leaders in communities can run this. They can operate the joysticks of their own local community exchange. So we have a 3-year pilot in Merced County with the University of California, where these young whippersnappers here are actually doing the work I'm talking about. It's not just the online work, but the out doing meetings, visiting Edward at his farm, presenting to the Rotary clubs. They're learning how to do good today, but gain crucial leadership skills for the future. Using the hip technology of today's world with basic practices, like how do you look people in the eye and do a presentation to a public health leader when you were a junior in college? How do you get out there and work in dialogues where, I think this ties back to the quote that was read early on, when hold that space, listen to an alternative viewpoint amongst different factions and not jump to conclusions. You can listen but not judge. So anyhow, we get youth involved and we're trying to grow that into a national curriculum, sort of like AmeriCorps, but for local resource exchange and food systems. I won't go through this slide. These are some of the posts that Edward has actually made. Vehicles, events. He was passionate about food insecurity at California colleges. His kids go to California colleges and wanted to raise attention. So call to action. all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, here are our goals. As I mentioned, local economic development, whether it is trading or bartering, whether it's helping someone get a job, find workers, or sell something, every little bit of economic development that we can create is very important. Food waste and recovery. There's so much food that goes to waste in Sonoma County and everywhere in the world. I'm going to astonish you with some figures from just backyard gardens here in a bit. But let's find a home for it. Let's feed the people. Let's make sure it doesn't go to the landfill, where when it's at the landfill, it creates the gases that aren't good for the climate, greenhouse gases. Food security. Our food security, as you know, started off this call with the food security program, is skyrocketing. It's usually around 30% of our country, which is still astonishing. Food insecurity. I have no idea what it is right now, but from what I've heard, whether you're in Mexico or in California or in New York, these rates are doubling or maybe tripling. It's astonishing. And then youth leadership development and community engagement, just like we're doing today, although I'm not a youth. I'm aging rapidly, a lot due to this project and the ups and downs we go through. This is kind of a fancy picture for what we do in communities, just connecting the dots. There's a lot of great groups: Rotary, gleaning groups, food banks, government agencies, farmers, compost projects. We're trying to be the connective tissue that helps link people up better through good gear or technology, but also inspired leadership, local leadership, and inspiring folks like Edward to lead like he's done, or others in our community, just like you guys. Here's a picture of back in the day. I always learned a story in my family that my grandmother in Nebraska was a switchboard operator. And so I've always incorporated that visual into what we do, because like I mentioned, working with the universities and others, our vision is to train students in every county in the United States and beyond eventually to do good today while growing as leaders tomorrow. We're building a curriculum to use this technology in an outreach sort of way, to get out there and to post, to help folks such as yourselves make the most out of this tool, to work with local leaders. We're slowly but surely building this model, and we're having a lot of fun as we do it. But this idea that every community needs a switchboard operator for resources, helpfulness, food. Right now we have visions of that in different regions, but I'd love to see that everywhere. And these are people that don't work for one organization or another. They cross the groups: business, nonprofit, government, food insecurity, public health, land preservation. When you work in that space in between as a kind of a generalist, there's a lot of magic you can make happen, a lot of new insights that you gain, and a lot of people you could help. So just remember that, switchboard operator. I'm really excited to be working with the University of California, Cooperative Extension, and other groups, because I don't want to grow a massive organization. I never have. That's not my strength. I want to inspire people to do good work, and I want to build tools and approaches that can scale and grow. Abraham Lincoln started the land-grant university system, and luckily there's a cooperative extension in pretty much every county in California and every county in the United States. And so one way we're growing is to work with these wonderful leaders on the ground, these extension officers. Sonoma County is the best example we have at the moment, but this is going to start to grow. But just look at the power of the partnership. These folks are on our team. We didn't have this when I first presented to you. It's not your typical organization where I have 500 or 1,000 employees. We're very lean. We're not mean. We're very lean and jovial. But we're building partnerships like this. And so my hope is that soon you'll see the results where we can take this inspired story that started right here in Sonoma County and keep growing throughout the state, get the youth involved, the extension involved, and just unleash. Because right now, this is needed more than ever. Stories. Every time something good happens, like the lawnmower finds a home with the community garden, we don't try to stop there. Early on, especially when we didn't have a lot of marketing dollars, I was like, this is so beautiful and inspiring to me. I want to see these stories of positive get out there. Lawnmower finds a home with a school garden. Rotary Club, working with local baker, gets loaves of bread to thousands. Like these are the stories that matter in our communities, right? But we don't hear those. So we started a little media division where we do little videos. That was the first year. I'd go out and interview beekeepers and youth starting a salsa company. This is Bear Farms in Santa Rosa, Right to Bear Farms, we called it. Earthworms, beehives. And then we got into teaching young leaders how to tell their own stories. They grab the phone right here and they go out and they record, and pretty soon they're making their own videos. Our vision is to have a channel for every community, and it's not me doing fun stories as much. I tried driving to every county in California right as the first fires hit. I was only able to make 40 counties. It was excruciatingly tiring to tell these stories. Drove 8,000 miles. I think I aged 10 years, but it was a beautiful journey. My point is we need to inspire others to get these stories out there. Where are we going into the future? I'm excited to share. At Crop Mobster, it's hard to measure the results of what we do, because what we do is connect people indirectly. My company and team, we don't take hold of any of the food. We don't take hold of any of the money. It flows once we connect groups and people directly. So the hardest part about this is being able to see and document the impact of what we've done over 7 years. Economic development, finding a home for extra food, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, new jobs. The impact is infinite. It's massive, and I know that, and others know that, but we can't measure it right now. So I'm excited to share that leaders from UC Davis and Columbia University are about ready to start a study to look at the data of exchanges over the last 7 years, as well as interviews, to roll up the impact of this work. And I know it'll be in the millions and millions of dollars of economy generated, millions of pounds of new food finding a home that would have been wasted, all sorts of other impacts. So I'm really excited to share that, because that's one of the hardest parts about this, is doing that. New features we want to build. I am on the market for a new chief technology officer, someone who's great at technology and programming. Right now, don't have that, but we have leaders keeping us afloat in terms of what we're doing now. But what I want to build are things like you guys and gals at Rotary, you want to go in on a herd of cattle and share and get your beef shares for the year, but no one wants to buy a whole cow. So we want to build a tool that allows 8 people or 5 people to get together and split a cow with a farmer and pay the farmer. Equipment sharing. Edward, this is an idea you've shared a lot. Tool sharing. We want to build tool share equipment and get the tractors being used and the old tools that aren't being used. Most of the equipment we have doesn't get used full time, maybe 5% of the time. The rest of the time it sits there. And then there's a world of in the Kennedy administration, I think it was Bobby Kennedy had a speechwriter, name was Edgar something or other, but he started a whole movement that when times are tight and people don't have a lot of money, what do they have? Time. So there's an entire really interesting world merging that I want to work with more, called time banking. I'm just looking at some names on my screen here. I see Bradley's iPhone and Larry Mills. Each of you have some time on your hands. But time equals money. You might not always have thousands of dollars to give to nonprofits or to share, but you may have a little bit of expertise, and your hour is equal to the other person's hour. And so there's a system that's being built for communities across the country where people can exchange time and almost treat it like money. I'm really excited about that, because when money's tight, we got to unlock other ways to make a difference and to help people. And so I'm excited to share that we have some new features coming. And then the big one, and Edward, I can't wait to talk to you about this, put your legal mind to work, is we've been a small business for 7 years, and I've considered making this a nonprofit. But what I'm really excited to do is make this a cooperative. anyone who signs up to the website, any worker who helps us make this better, any partner like the University of California that signs on to help, even if we don't have a lot of funds, we want to make this a worker-owned cooperative. And there's a new world that's emerged from brick and mortar cooperatives that apply to websites. I'm sure a lot of you have run across cooperatives in your lives, but it's for online platforms. It's called platform cooperativism. So we're embarking on this journey, and we're getting some help from leaders, leading thinkers, so that anyone who signs up for the website, anyone who helps us build something new, we're going to build a system that allows shares to be allocated, and that everyone who gives to this model is also a receiver and owns a small share or a large share commensurate with the contribution. So I'm excited about that, excited about building the AmeriCorps for local food systems and economies. We really want to grow that university curriculum and then keep doing the storytelling and the media work. Before I dive here, I'm going to show you the website real quick. Alrighty, so this is CropMobster, and right now I've sorted it so you can just see all the free stuff people are posting. I have a quote on that slide prior that I researched for this presentation. I know that in America especially, but I never would have thought that for each household in the United States, each household has 300,000 items. That's unbelievable. So my point here is we might not all have a lot of money at times to give. We can't give endlessly. We got to think creatively of other ways to give, our expertise, our time, our stuff that we're not using. So look at all the stuff that people are posting: drainage pipe, starts that aren't being used. Here's groups looking for gleaning, sheep wool, tomato starts, chickens, guinea pigs, free mulch, free pasture. Like, I just would ask everyone on here, this is one way that CropMobster works. After you leave this call, maybe hopefully this has been inspiring to you. Think about what you have to offer. And if there's something you're not using, maybe something that's actually, put it out there and let's see what kind of magic comes into your life as a result. I mean, and no one knows this better than Sunrise Rotary. You are givers, right? But try it out with CropMobster and you'll see the magic that happens, especially if you post that extra lawnmower or that even a weed eater that needs fixed up, or extra set of plates or dishes. Our only rule is that not a lot of garbage get posted on CropMobster, both as physical sense, but also just people abusing our platform, because a human eye looks at everything that's posted. There's nothing that gets posted without a human like me clicking the publish button. So a lot of good quality stuff. That's what keeps it pure and open. We don't get a lot of scammers and things like that, knock on wood. For sale, I just switched over to the for sale button. Lots of folks selling. And again, a lot of farm animals, tractors, chicken coops. Right now in our data, we're noticing, and it's not a surprise to you, this is very common sense. People, especially non-gardeners, are wanting to grow more. They're wanting to get more chickens at home, be self-sufficient. We're getting back to the Victory Garden days, the original Granger movement, as Edward said. So people are posting and new jobs are being created while old ones are going away. People are starting that business, helping set up chicken coops at homes and build them, teach people, even servicing them. All sorts of stuff. Here's a surplus milk. You probably heard about milk in the news being wasted. Well, people are posting milk on CropMobster. Not quite the millions and millions of gallons yet, but my hope is with continued work with folks like you and others, this will continue to spread throughout the country. Beehives, it's endless. And so all sorts of things, jobs, etc. We just welcome your participation as a team. That's the biggest request I have is, if this is inspiring, and engage, either message people that have posted and try to help them, or maybe you have some old hay or an old lawnmower, or anything goes. And then when people think we do, a lot of folks ask, well, how do you make money? This is self-funded. I've operated off grants. We have a few small investors from way early on. We're turning on features to allow our members who value us most to fund this. One of them is if we do a good job, people can buy us a virtual coffee. So the other day, someone made a sale on Crop Mobster and they sent us 3 coffees equals $9. And pretty soon we're going to be turning on features that allow folks to make a lot more money, and we might have a small portion. But my dream is to not depend on outside big government agencies or others for the money. We definitely for other things. We want this to be people powered. Our community, 20,000 people in this community and growing, and super fired up and inspired to do this. Give you a tour. Oh, and then I told you about the food puns and the merchandise. This is another way people support us, or at least I support my unique mind in entertaining myself through thick and thin. So here's a shirt called Grow a Pair. Glean on me. Give Peach a chance. Talk dirt to me. Make asparagus great again. So if you can believe it, people actually buy and wear these shirts, and we have a lot of fun doing good. That's another way we keep things flowing. We're kind of holding out and being really careful, well, either by on purpose or by accident, kind of both. We are really waiting for the right pure money to come in to support this. And until then, we really are selective around where the money comes from so that we can make sure we always maintain control of the beauty and the purity of this vision, and not things that are hyper monetizable. You can't put dollars on a thank you note. You can't quantify the value of a free lawnmower to a school garden. And so because of that, we really focus on making sure we keep this pure. And that's why folks like Edward and his family and others have been so great, and you all. And so just a few things in closing. And want to just go through a few things that came to mind as I think of your group and my conversations with Lance and with Edward. We're here. We have a tool that works anywhere in the United States, and it adjusts to zip codes. But in Sonoma County, where this vision started, my only real request is to put us to work. It's a free service, but I need people like you to share what we're doing, to post, to get involved like Edward and message people to help them. This can happen 10 minutes out of each day, and it happens to be kind of fun once you start nerding out and getting into this. And so put us to work. We're here. We're a great resource and tool, and they're actual real live human beings that if needed, we actually pick up the phone or email you. In other worlds, we'd meet directly, kind of taking a pause on that for obvious reasons. But just remember this stat too. Maybe every day, all of you go home, or go home, you are home. Do an audit. If there's one thing that maybe you're not using, but it's very valuable, that can be useful to someone else in a garden or outside, or as a helpful resource, some old aluminum, old fence posts, try it, make a post, see what happens. 300,000 items in every household. Learned that this week. I'm never going to forget that. And get this, gardens. Everyone's growing gardens right now. Victory gardens are on the comeback out of necessity. But guess what? This was even before the increase in gardening right now. 11.5 billion pounds of garden produce is wasted every year. So I bet you over half of you have something growing that you can eat. Just keep an eye out for extra food that you're not going to use. And if you have a moment and you're not going to use it and can't find neighbors that you can hand it to, make a post, give it away, donate it. Someone will make use of that food. And then what I've been trying to do, because it's a really crazy time right now for me in my mind, out in the world, it seems like every week we go through 5 years of change. I'm trying to figure out, in addition to keeping my family going, how can I be of most service? And what I'm finding and what I'm seeing the best leaders do is try to take a little more time in each day. As much as we're all doing and acting and taking action, let's see if we can have more conversations with people. And the conversations aren't necessarily about what we're doing or what we're needing, but just really deep listening, inquiring, asking questions. What do you need? Do you know anyone who needs something? Because you all are mini versions of switchboard operators in your lives, right? And so if you can sort of take that mindset for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour of each day, you're going to notice needs that you didn't notice before. And it's not even going to take money. You're going to have solutions for those people that you're listening to, or the people that they know have needs. And you're going to be able to connect the dots yourself. It's not even about CropMobster or this tool. It's about just, I'm trying to take more time in my life to listen, learn, and see who needs help. And I may not be able to help them, but someone I know will. And if we can all do a little more of that, because we all have the extra time, it's just a matter of if we want to watch that TV or Netflix, or if we want to go out and help someone. Again, I'm preaching to the choir here, but I think everyone can do a little more, not necessarily action, because we're all probably stretched thin right now on that front, and donating, but listening. Okay, sleuthing out where the needs are. And then when we see solutions, or we see people that have the opportunity to make a difference, let's give them the nudges. Hey, did you think about doing this or doing that? And that's how I'm going to end here. It's super neat that Edward's a part of this and set this meeting up with Lance and others. Super beautiful to talk with you today. Hopefully this has been helpful. About 2 months ago, I was a little quiet on CropMobster. Usually I post videos or poems or calls to action, and it's been a while. I've been working other jobs and doing a lot to keep this afloat. It's a real philanthropic sort of effort for us that we're just going to keep plugging away at, see where it goes and how it grows. But I was a little quiet. Edward reached out and he said, Nick, our world's going crazy. We need more positive messages on CropMobster. We need you to start publishing calls to action and guiding people. And I was like, whatever. It stuck in my brain, and then I wasn't in the mood for it, honestly. I was going through a lot myself, and then what I did was I was on the beach taking a walk just before everything was shut down, and a poem came to my mind, and it was called "Live to Share," and it was inspired by Edward saying, "Do some more writing, Nick. Do some more messaging," and then it's this idea that we are here for a noble purpose, and that's to share and to be of service. And I wrote this poem in my journal. Someone helped me improve it. And then Peter Coyote, the actor and narrator, who is he does all the Ken Burns documentaries, voiceovers. His voice is like the voice of a generation of America. He is a CropMobster, lives in Sebastopol. Every year has 30 apple trees, or 40. And he makes a post every year, and he's just was amazed at the beauty. He was the doctor in the movie E.T., by the way, and Aaron Brockovich. And I don't know if it's still planned or not, but he's going to be playing James Comey in the upcoming series on FBI, Russiagate or whatever. Cool guy. But anyhow, he's been in our community, but I never wanted to ask him for anything because I'm not a big asker, especially for money or things like that. But when I wrote this poem, thanks to others like Edward inspiring me to do that, I reached out to Peter and I said, hey, hope you're well. Hope you post your apples this year. And I've wrote a poem, and I have a small team that's turning it into a video now. And I'm wondering if you would be so kind as to narrate it. Don't have a lot of money. And the guy emails back, absolutely. So about a month ago, and I'm going to share this with you right now. It's 90 seconds, and I'd love for you to share it with your friends if you don't mind. But again, it's just this idea of if you nudge someone, it might turn into a poem. That poem might turn into a film. That film might turn into a project that is narrated by the voice of the Oscars, who actually has been in 130 movies and is a hugely influential and generous figure in our times. And so I'm excited to close my presentation with a short video. And I hope this inspires you, has added value for your day. and that you'll keep doing what you're doing, because you're very needed in our communities, and we're very grateful. So anyhow, hang tight here. Putting it on full screen. Hold on a second. Partial screen. Okay. See here. We even did a dry run, Lance. Video settings. Not a, what did I do, Lance?
I think it was, yeah, when you shared.
Yeah, 1 second here.
You may need to unshare and then reshare your
Oh,
screen,
good idea.
because then it'll give you the opportunity.
Getting a little nervous now that I forgot what I knew was supposed to do here.
So while we're doing this, if you've got a question or comment, go ahead, go into the participants tab. There should be a raise hand button. Then I can go through and unmute everyone so you're not trying to talk over each other.
Oh, I got this, Lance. I just figured. Yeah, well,
Good.
Here we go. Optimize screen sharing for video clip, share computer sound, hitting share, and then I'll answer questions. And really appreciate you guys. Let's keep the love flowing and the resources and food sharing. And, you know, I just really appreciate all that Rotary's done for us over the years. And with that, I'm turning this on.
The door of the food bank opens in the heart. Our pantry is stocked with helpfulness, jars and jars of nourishing potential. A kindergarten classroom can make a difference. One fruit tree can help feed a neighborhood, extending hopeful branches and roots across fence lines, boundaries, and borders. Galaxies of potential. Farmers, gardeners, and cleaners, farm workers, trucks, and volunteers, canners, chefs, 4-H'ers, and soup kitchens. And remember the hands: black, white, brown, and red hands. You are all revered and appreciated. Thank you for feeding our communities. Thank you for helping us reclaim and remember mutual aid and neighborliness. A sprouting and resilient spirit core to all communities. Remember your grandma's hands, turning the soil, canning those green beans, sharing a few jars with the neighbors. The love shared is the love we need. Be your own crop mobster. Live to share.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
There you go. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So I don't see anyone put their hand up. So if you want to, if you've got any questions or things to say, just go ahead and unmute yourself. I don't think we're going to get crushed here.
Here's Nancy.
And Nancy, I'll hit you first. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nick, thank you. That was, I have tears in my eyes. It's just very inspiring. I was going to ask you if you knew Glenda Humiston, and then I saw her name on the credit. So that's very exciting. Our next year in Rotary, we are going to be a little tight with funds, and you're your concept of time equals money really spoke to me, and I'd like to follow up with you on that idea, because we're going to be trying to see what we can get our hands as we build our savings account again.
You betcha, Nancy.
And I also wanted to ask, oh, go ahead.
There's a website, Time Banks USA. I'm just now learning about it myself, but that's where you can jump in and start the journey.
Okay, I will do that.
And also feel free to call or reach out.
I will, and I intend to get on your site here because it's pretty exciting. We've been talking to our Corazon community, and they are getting ready to build a tool library. Are you familiar with that?
That's kind of what Edward and I are getting at, that we want to support in some way down the road when we can get the resources to automate it a little bit. But no, yeah, tool libraries, let's do it.
Okay, well, hopefully we're going to be doing something with them. We don't know yet because we need to bring it to the board and our membership. But, this would be a multi-city project. So
when it's ready to go, the easiest way we can help is by broadcasting this and making a post that it's available. Maybe someday we'll build it into our technology. But if whenever there's something like that, or a project that you all have that you want to help raise awareness of or get utilization, make a post. Edward can help there, or I can, and take it from there. Way to go.
Okay. One last thing, in a former life, I was a sheep rancher, and when we would do presentations to the community, I was stunned by the lack of understanding of where our food comes from. So is part of your platform educating people that a beautiful lamb chop just doesn't come from a plastic box at Safeway?
Yeah, and we're moderators and facilitators, so ideally that message, absolutely. We're all about local food, local resources, local everything. It can't all be local. There are situations where seafood fisherman from Oregon wants to ship locally, but yeah, we try our best, but we encourage members like you to post your own stories and resources. We don't want to determine what the community focuses on as much, as long as they operate in terms of some basic core values, but we would want to empower folks like you to be able to send that message. But yeah, that's a big one that you're talking about right there. And we're having a big old wake-up call on the importance of localism now, and that's one of the silver linings of all this that we're going through.
Yeah, and the Victory Garden concept is
Here's Jay.
Is very exciting. I have to say one thing real fast. I have a lot of pardon me?
Oh, I was just saying, I saw Jay raise his real hand. And also,
okay,
Glenda Humiston, Nancy, has been just a huge champ. One of our nation's greatest leaders in food, agriculture, rural economic development. And we definitely we've benefited from her leadership and support. So yeah, Jay, take it away. And then I think,
I know Ed's got his virtual hand up first.
Sorry.
Yeah, Nick, quick. Why don't you quickly just tell the members of the club how they can join Crop Mobster, and it's no charge and things like that.
Yeah, so you can go to cropmobster.com, and let's see here. I'll share my screen again.
I actually turned that off for you. So
okay, and then and just sign up, create a free account, enter your email and name, and then when you can choose how you want to be notified when something great happens or there's an offer, and you receive an email digest. And then you can make posts for free once you're signed in, and you become a part of this community. Okay. Thanks, Edward.
Welcome.
Jay.
As one of the founders of Go Local, I want to congratulate you. And just yesterday, I ran across the co-op platforms. So I would encourage you to go in that direction. The question I have for you is, what do we do about local processing? When I was raising lambs, it was slim, and now it's almost gone here in Sonoma County. Is there any move around some kind of a co-op for processing?
Yes, there is. And actually one of the leaders in the whole state is right here in Sonoma County, I'm actually in Baja, Mexico right now, just so you need to know. Long story, but yeah, I'm on both for Crop Mobster and my work with the University of California as a consultant. I'm in these different worlds, right? Our nation's supply chain is getting crushed and breaking down. So I'm on calls with like the head of the American Beef Association, Dairy Association, other things. And there's a big push to fill gaps in our nation's food supply chain. And one of them, even on a large, more corporate scale, is processing. You've heard that in the news. But now, regionally, we don't have the old processors anymore and the intermediaries built up so that it's efficient and effective, like you mentioned. And so starting in Sonoma County, Glenda Humiston, funny you mentioned the name, they're working on grants and initiatives to rebuild our regional food supply and food system infrastructure, which includes brick and mortar, animal and other processing, distribution hubs, and even online platforms like what we're working on. So you're spot on, Jay. We've taken local food systems and local community for granted through cheap subsidized food for too long, and those systems are breaking down. Not saying they should go away completely, but we need to rebalance and get rebalanced with what's important locally. And so yeah, you'll hear a lot about mobile processing units. Those are starting to happen more, and I'm not an expert in that area, but I'm hearing that we're waking up to the need.
All right, last questions. All right,
I just
Nick.
want to say I love the eagle behind Douglas, or the raptor. That is a beautiful background picture.
Yeah, I think he's always trying to threaten us with that.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Please reach out. We're here for you. Appreciate all the love and support. Keep doing the good work. Oh, nice. Is that the hand move?
Well, it's because everyone's muted and you can't hear everyone at once. So
thanks, Lance. Always telling it like it is. Appreciate you too, buddy, and Edward. And with that, I'm gonna let you have the rest of your meeting, and I'm gonna go take my next meeting.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Really appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I think next we wanted to talk about the 4th of July plans. So Doug and Colleen, do you want to bring us up to date on what's going on?
Sure. Can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes.
Wow, we're getting fancy, Doug.
I hope it works.
You now have screen permission.
Okay, so how do I make my screen show up here?
We are seeing your screen now.
Do you see my cursor moving on it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, well, you all know that we canceled the main 4th of July event because of COVID, and we've been working with the city for about 5 weeks now, trying to put together something that would be exciting for the children in town. The city came up with a suggestion of a parade, and we thought that would be great. But the kids can't be in a parade because there'd be too many of them too close together. So they decided the parade would be the city, and they would go around town where there would be groups of children in costume watching the parade. Although the parade would really be the kids out having fun with their friends, but in smaller groups than the melee that we would have down in the plaza. So what we came up with was the plan that there would be a parade route in town, starting at the fire station, going down to Presidential Circle, where we'd have a group of 20 to 30 kids at designated areas with proper spacing, move up to Healdsburg Elementary School where we'd have another 40 or 50. Healdsburg Community Church and the Fitch Mountain School, there's lots of sidewalk space there to spread them out on in those 2 blocks, and then wind the parade through the neighborhood north of March Avenue, because I think there are a lot of kids there. Go out to Brothers Park and Parkland Farms, which just has 200 or 300 yards of sidewalk that we could easily spread out. And I think there are a lot of kids that live out there. Come back over to the housing developments on the corner of Grove and Chiquita. There are 2 of them there, with a lot of families. Come back down, loop around the plaza on Plaza Street down to East Street, then on Matheson and back up, and then up at the fire station. Along the route, we would have goodie bags for the kids with patriotic material in them that the club will purchase. And they will also be encouraged through our website and newspaper advertising to have the parents submit photos of them to our social media site so we can have a virtual parade of all the children in costume. At the conclusion of the parade, they can go to the website and scroll through everybody's costume. So that's basically the concept of the parade. What the city's doing, they're providing the vehicles, they're providing some of the chalk for marking the sidewalk, things to keep social distancing, and they're buying some of the gifts for the children. The club's going to be responsible for setting up the neighborhood viewing areas, marking the sidewalks, monitoring the viewing areas to prevent unavoidable closeness, and handing out the gift bags. Not a lot of moving parts that need to be done. Most of the groundwork for setting up the route and stations is there. We do need people to gather the supplies for the stations or the viewing areas, setting them up, marking the sidewalks. That would probably be done the day of the event, starting early in the morning. And then we will need 2 or 3 people that meet at each station, and there are 6 of them, to monitor social distancing, answer questions, provide masks, and hand out the goodie baskets in a way that doesn't lead to unnecessary closeness. We've gotten clearance from the city that this is compliant with public health directives for social gatherings. I don't think there will be any problems unless there are some new shutdowns ordered at the end of this week. And that's what's frustrating about this, is that it's very uncertain what we're going to be doing from one day to the next. It may all may blow up in our faces if we get to the point where we have to go on lockdown again. So we're going to need a lot of people to basically pull this off. Right now, we do have the working committee so far has been Lance, Colleen, Nancy, Jay, and myself. We're going to need to have somebody to step up to take charge of the setting up the viewing areas, getting all the supplies together, and marking. Lee Morton is going to be heading a group that does that. The neighborhood viewing areas are going to be coordinated with Bob, and he will need a committee of several people to help him with that. Lance and Chris are going to be working on the social media and getting our website up to date with all of the events and timing, copies of the map for the people that look into it. Jay is in charge of getting all of the gifts together, and we'll need several club members or other volunteers to help package this up. I've pretty much been doing the fundraising and working with the Healdsburg Tribune for print and digital advertising, along with getting in their digital media for community events. a very short period of time to pull all this together. It's quite a struggle to keep all the balls in the air with getting deadlines met and whatnot. I'm having some trouble with fundraising. It's not the right time of the year, and it's not the right situation when there are so many other areas of need in the community. I'm finding it somewhat difficult to get our usual sources to come up with things. I'm working on that today and tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have the requisite funds for our budget, which is around $7,000 to $8,000 when we take into consideration buying the goodies to hand out and paying for the advertising to promote this so kids know about it. So I think we have our bases covered for leaders in each of the groups. I hope that of our club members, we can get everybody to participate in some way or another. There may be some of us that are not able to safely be out in public because of medical conditions, age, or other things that put us at increased risk. So given our club membership of 34 or 35 people active, we're going to need almost everybody to volunteer in some way or another to work on this project. Plus, we're going to need spouses, friends, or other community volunteers. And Jay, we're going to be working with Next Door Neighbor for that, I believe, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So are there questions about the event?
And for the actual parade, what's the thinking on the timing?
The parade will probably start at 10 o'clock at the fire station and be down at Presidential Circle a little after 10. And then go up here. There, I don't think there'll be much activity along here, so they can probably move pretty quickly. Probably about 20 minutes for each area. They figure 2 hours for the parade. The city will give us estimated times for each of these stops. Sean McCaffrey is working with the city to get a detailed map that shows something much better than my hand scratching on a Google map. That will be in our advertisements and on our website. The whole parade will take about 2 hours. So working at the neighborhood viewing areas, you know, at the different locales, it's probably going to involve 2.5 to 3 hours of participants' time. Once the parade has left your area, the kids will probably mill around for a little bit, and you can start breaking things down, and then Lee's group will come around and pick everything up and get it returned to its normal resting place, including the tables and chairs and tops. In the parade, Colleen and Mark Temig from the city are going to be our resident ducks, wearing the darn old duck suits. And I don't know that they're going to walk the entire 5-mile route. I think they may have to have transportation to get from one site to the next. And we are also going to
be Doug, because the feet, you have to lift up your foot so you don't step on the web in the front. It's literally like being a duck. So no.
Well, why don't you just fly?
Yes, I'd like to do that.
Do that. But anyway, we're also going to have the duck in the parade being hauled with somebody's pickup truck, in the bed of which will be multiple other packages of goodies for those children who choose to watch from their homes rather than going to the viewing areas. And that could be anywhere along the route. So we need to have some people in the truck to hand out those goodies. Unfortunately, the city says we cannot let people ride in the back of a pickup truck unless they have a seatbelt on. And I don't know if there's any way around that other than I don't think there will be any police following us. So unless they have a good rear view mirror they won't be able to tell if we're in the back.
like
I don't want to
that, Doug.
recommend we violate the law. So we'll have to figure out some way to do that, because I don't know that all the kids will be at the viewing stations.
What is the cost of the Trib advertising?
Trib advertising altogether is going to be about $1,700 for a full page ad, half in Spanish, half in English. So we encourage everybody coming out. And that will run in just one issue. And that also includes 2 weeks continuous coverage on their digital media website, which also can put any other links that we may want to have them be directed to our club on. I thought it was a good way to support our local paper, which is falling on hard times because of lack of advertising revenue.
Yeah.
And at that, they're giving us a discounted rate because we're a service organization.
Got it.
Doug, we should have you on Pandemic more often, because I have never seen a man pull something together this quickly and this professionally in that short of a time. I'm like, we're not worthy, Doug.
We're not worthy.
Still a lot to be done. I have a couple of hard days of work ahead of me to get the funding secured and get the copy into the newspaper. I'm going to have to get Jay something to you early this morning or early this afternoon for translation by Corazon. So we know that it's done professionally and appropriately.
Hey, Doug, this is Chris. Are there any precautions being taken to counter any demonstrators that might show up for the parade?
We've not even considered that.
Chris, we did tell the police not to be present.
We're having police vehicles and glorifying our public services. I mean, I guess you can have a protest for anything these days.
We did, just so you know, Chris and everybody else, we did talk to the assistant police chief, and he's aware that we need to minimize the amount of police in the parade, maybe just one car. We're not using sirens. We're trying to be respectful of the fact that this is kind of a really challenging time right now. So, and they were supportive of that. They also contributed some of the funds for the bags, for some of the goodies in the bags, because we thought it would be appropriate for them to show their support, and they agreed. So we're hoping also that the Police Officers Association will make a donation, but I know that they already bought the hats, I believe is what they purchased for our goodie bag. So I agree with you, Chris. It's a really, we have to be listening and responding to the wants of the community and being respectful of both. It's kind of a tightrope we're trying to walk a little bit, but these are unusual times in many respects. So.
Any other questions?
I hope you all can consider giving some time for this. Lee and Bob will be reaching out to you to get your help with these things. And I would like to have a meeting of Lance, Colleen, Jay, myself, Nancy, Lee, and Bob sometime in the next couple of days. Unfortunately, Bob's practice requires that the meetings be after 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So give that some thought and let me know when the rest of you might be able to meet. 7 o'clock would be good for me for a meeting lasting probably an hour. I'm not used to having virtual meetings. I have a hard time getting the sense of connection that comes from being in the same room with people and having that free flow of ideas and interaction and interruptions that lead to a more fruitful discussion, but we'll do the best we can with what we have. So can we plan on having something on Thursday at 7 for the Lee and Bob? Would that work for you and for the rest of you? That'd work for you, Jay?
Tomorrow? I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow.
Friday, could we do that? I mean, we're pushing, you know, what, 2.5 weeks until the 4th?
Friday I can do.
Friday, yeah, so we have 2.5 weeks until the 4th, yeah. So Friday at 7? Okay, I'll set up a Zoom meeting, or Lance, do you want to set that up?
I'll set it up, yeah, Friday at 7.
You have authority to run meetings over 40 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. I only have a 40-minute limit on my Zoom account. So you'll set that up and send the link to us for Friday at 7.
Yes.
It'll keep us all from going out and partying on Friday night.
That's always an issue for me.
There's no guarantee there.
Nancy, I see you had something to say.
Well, Doug answered the question. I was just interested to know how we were all going to get signed up, since we can't sign up in person, but people are going to reach out to us. So that's good. I also am thinking a good portion of our first meeting on July 1st would be timely to help tie up loose ends. So I would offer a good amount of time to Doug for that. So let's keep that in mind.
Excellent.
Well, hopefully everything will be all pulled together then, and it'll be just being sure that we had everything lined up and ready to go. I know with the other event that we had earlier, it was pretty easy because the roles were pretty well spelled out. We're dealing with something brand new for everybody here. I have arrangements made with the community church to get tables like we've done in the past. So Lee, you don't have to worry about that, just picking them up, and I can help you with that. Since I have a key to the church, we can get you in there. There will be a need, and Jay can address this at our meeting, to have the goodie bags stuffed probably on the 1st or the 2nd. So they're all ready to go. There's going to be a lot of stuff to put in each bag, and it may take several hours on maybe 1 or 2 nights to get them all loaded up. And Nancy, responding to you, I don't think that Lee and Bob are going to be reaching out to club members. I would ask every club member to make a commitment now, at least the 25 that are at our meeting, to contact them and say, yes, I can help. I want to be part of this as the club. Because to start a process of emailing out and waiting 2 or 3 days for a reply, we're going to be in the middle of the week before the 4th before we have anybody put together for this. So time is really short, really, really short for doing this. Even with the 6 weeks that we've had, it's amazing that we're getting this close to having it put together.
All right. Thanks, Doug. I'm really excited, but yeah, I think everyone's definitely going to need to jump in on this. And I see people are starting to drop off because we're already over time.
You can take me off a screen share.
I already have.
Okay.
Larry, did you want to talk briefly about the Rotary International Virtual Convention?
Yeah, I'll be very brief. You know, Rotary International has an annual convention. It was supposed to be in Hawaii this year. It was canceled, of course. But Rotary International is now having a virtual convention that you can sign up for free at RI Convention. Let's see, is it .org? Yes. And I have signed up, and there's an interesting kind of series of various events. You know, you can go to a general session and watch people, you know, give speeches, but you can also go to substantive sessions. And I signed up for one about greening Rotary events. being plastic free and that kind of thing. And there are other various breakouts, if you will, or sessions. It's free. The whatever his name is, the president of Rotary, Mr. Maloney, is looking for 50,000 people to sign up and participate in the virtual convention. And there are actually some decent offerings. It starts on June 20th and goes through June 26th, and you can just partake in whatever you want. But I think it could be interesting and useful, and we will feel a connection to the larger Rotary by participating. And it's free. It's free. So if you want to, if you have the time and you want to do it, feel free.
Awesome. Thanks, Larry. Colleen, do you want to say anything about the Jack Valerga drive-by?
Sure. I have been busy working on our signs that we're going to have for the cars. I've got 10 cardboard, like poster boards that we can put on your cars. The only thing I don't know is I have to figure out what's the safe way to affix them to your cars. So we're meeting again in the parking lot at 10:45 on the, hold on a second. It's Friday the 26th, thank you. And we'll just drive by, we'll go, form a line, a parade of cars, and we'll go 10 is the most we can do up to where he lives and slowly go by and just wave. I don't know if we're gonna honk. I don't want to scare people in the facility, but anyways, they're coming together. I've got 7 of them done, so I got 3 more to go. And we also have a festivity on the 25th, the evening of the 25th, which is a certain gentleman whose initials are LC's debunking. And I asked Lance if we could set that up at 5:30. I think we said 6, but I think from 5:30 to 6, we'll have a little bit of socializing and stuff, and then the festivities will begin at 6.
Got it.
And that's on the 25th, the evening of the 25th. So get your finery on, because, we're going to class the place up with, and we have some special events that evening too. I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome.
Colleen, where is the meeting parking lot for the parade? Where is that going to be?
It's going to be, I've given multiple locations because people were confused. Where the fire station is, the parking lot that's right there, the gas station, there's a Rotten Robbie, that area in that zone.
The Rite Aid parking lot.
That's correct. I thought it was the dollar store, but I was mistaken. So the Rite Aid parking lot right there.
Okay.
Awesome. And I encourage everyone to send Jack a birthday greetings as well. Send him cards. In addition to the drive-by and the cake that we've arranged. I'm sure he'd appreciate that, because we've missed seeing him here in these virtual meetings, because that technology is not working well.
You should know that I send Jack hard copies of the meeting summaries in batches, 2 or 3 meetings at a time. So I'm trying to keep him involved by at least having the summaries of the meetings.
Awesome. Thanks, Larry. That's fantastic. Real quick, if we want to do any recognitions, I will own up to an upcoming anniversary this weekend. So I'll put $50, and I think I'll put it towards Polio Plus, just because I know that's taking a real big hit this year.
Yeah, I know. People got to step up, because Archie's basically threatening me if I don't do well on this recognition. He sends me tips. He's like, you need to do this. I'm like, okay, calm down. Anybody else have birthdays or anniversaries they want to? And what was your donation you gave, Lance?
50 to Polio Plus.
All right, you set the bar high. I like that. Anybody else before I start picking on people?
I do.
Yeah, you do.
This is Diane Booker. I do. June 21st. I have a birthday. Yay. Yeah, I guess I have to do the math. I don't like to think about these things anymore. So for no reason, I'll give $58 to my Paul Harris.
I like that. You sure you don't want to round it up to 60?
No, I'm very clear. I don't want to round up to 60. No, thank you.
I just thought I'd ask, just for fun.
Cool.
Anybody else want to give me some money? Actually, here's an idea. It's Lance's last meeting. It's soon to be Nancy's first meeting. So I think it'd be nice if all of us gave, I don't know, say $10 to a charity of Lance's choice, which I'm sure would be either our Rotary Scholarship or something related to our club. What do you think, Lance?
I would suggest that we all give to a Nancy Plumbo slush fund, so that she has some cash to do things with.
Nice, I like that. Can I get everybody to commit to a $10 donation to Nancy's slush fund?
I'll toss in for that.
Okay, look at that, Nance. We're setting you up pretty.
Sign us up, Chris.
Terry is quickly taking a tally of hands on. Just say everybody said yes, Terry. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you to everyone for showing up. It's kind of interesting that to finally be hitting the end of this road. Next week, we have the combined board of directors meeting handoff. So it'll be my board and Nancy's board on the Zoom meeting. And probably also doing some final prep around the 4th of July. And of course, July 1st, Nancy's first meeting, and there'll be a
go Nancy, go!
Wonderful. And all right, so parting thought from Martin Luther King Jr. Let no person pull you low enough to hate him. Go forth and Rotary the heck out of your week.
Thank you, Lance.